So is ADHD genetic? Hey there, you may be wondering about the similarities between your childhood and adulthood. Maybe you have a hard time staying focused, getting organized, or have trouble keeping your living space neat and tidy. And you notice that your parents seem to have some of those same struggles. So could your ADHD symptoms have been passed down to you by your family? Well, that's what we'll explore today. We're going to start with a child sitting at a desk trying to study. We'll zoom out slowly to reveal an adult who looks similar. This will symbolize inherited traits. Next, we'll split the screen between a parent and their child and show both of them displaying restlessness or hyperactivity. We'll use cartoon-style visual cues such as fast movement, tapping fingers, bouncing legs, or floating thought bubbles. Then we'll focus on DNA strands that glow gently, one with a question mark. This will represent the exploration into whether attention traits are passed down. Finally, we'll show a simplified brain diagram as a calm narrator-like voiceover plays, ending with a diverse group of people of all ages walking across the screen. Let's dive in. We've created a short, punchy animation for social media. If you want to see more short videos like this, make sure to stay tuned for more updates. We start with a medium shot of a child wearing glasses and sitting at a desk with books and papers. The child has a curious expression on their face as they try to focus on their schoolwork. After a beat, they look off camera to their left with a confused or distracted expression. As the camera slowly zooms out over several seconds, it becomes clear that the child is inside a house, and in the background is a person who looks similar to the child. They also appear to be sitting at a table and are also looking off in the distance with a similar confused expression. We don't get a clear view of the person's face, but it's implied that they are the child's parent. This establishes the idea of inherited traits. Next, we split the screen so that the child and the adult are side by side. The child turns the page of their book quickly, almost impatiently. Their pencil falls to the table and they look off to the side as they listen to something just out of frame. Meanwhile, the adult taps their fingers on the table and drums their foot impatiently. Their eyes are fixed on something off in the distance, and they also appear agitated or restless. This reinforces the concept of restlessness or hyperactivity being a shared trait between the child and the adult. As the scene progresses, we introduce more visual cues. The child bounces their leg, then begins tapping their fingers on the table, matching the adult's finger tapping. The child's pencil flies through the air and lands on the floor. Thought bubble containing stars or hearts pops up above their head and follows them around the room as they daydream. Similarly, the adult has a thought bubble that follows them as well, filled with stars or other symbols representing ideas or distractions. These visual elements emphasize the idea of distraction and having one's mind wander. The next scene focuses on two strands of DNA that gently glow against a dark blue background. One strand has a small question mark near its end. This symbolizes the exploration of whether traits like ADHD are passed down through genetics. A subtle glowing icon of genetics, or a double helix DNA structure, could be overlaid onto the scene, further emphasizing this concept. This transition allows us to seamlessly move from the previous scene to the topic of genetics. We show a simplified version of a human brain with basic labels like frontal lobe and brainstem. A calm and authoritative voice begins a voiceover. They explain that our brains are made up of genes and our experiences, meaning both our genes and environment can affect how we develop. ADHD is a condition marked by an ongoing pattern of inattention or hyperactivity that interferes with functioning and development. Research suggests that those with ADHD have differences in their brain structure and function. Studies also suggest that these differences can be passed down, meaning that certain genes may be associated with ADHD. However, genes don't work alone. Our environment and life experiences play a role too. The voiceover concludes by stating that while there isn't a single gene responsible for ADHD, multiple genes might interact to increase the likelihood of developing the condition. In addition, environmental factors may also play a part. As the voiceover continues, we show stick figure style representations of various people. These stick figures can be diverse in terms of age, gender, and skin tone. They walk across the screen, symbolizing how ADHD can manifest across generations and affect people of all ages. Some of the stick figures can have small thought bubbles above their heads or bouncing ball type animations above them to represent distraction or restlessness. Let us talk about some of the things you want to keep in mind when creating your animation. First, it's important to set the right mood. The overall feel of your video should be soft science or educational rather than clinical or overly technical. This will help your audience stay engaged and interested in the topic. To achieve this tone, consider using muted colors such as cool blues and avoiding overly bright or saturated hues. Another important aspect is to pace yourself. Keep the video concise and move at a steady pace throughout. Avoid rushing through the information and allow your audience to absorb the concepts presented. Smooth and clean transitions between scenes will contribute to a polished look and make the video more enjoyable to watch. Regarding the visuals, your animation doesn't need to include actual DNA models. Instead, you can use symbolic strands or patterns to represent DNA. This will give your video a more stylized look and help convey the complex topic of genetics in a simpler way. And finally, remember that text can often be distracting and even overwhelming, so aim to create a video without any text overlay. This will encourage your viewers to focus on the visuals and the voiceover, which are the main elements of your video. If you enjoyed this example, check out our channel for more fun science videos. Remember to stay tuned for new releases. Thanks for watching and happy creating!